Labelled as the next generation of home networks, mesh Wi-Fi is here and here to stay. So ASUS has actually sponsored this video and sent out their Lyra, and I'm going to use this as a demonstration to explain how mesh Wi-Fi works and how it's beneficial for you. So what is it? Well, unlike a typical single router, mesh Wi-Fi uses, in this case 3, Wi-Fi nodes, and these create better coverage and a more stable connection, and they eliminate what is sometimes known as dead spots. And what this means is that in larger houses especially, you can reach a lot of the harder to reach areas, such as corner rooms and even your garden. Now what some people with traditional routers tend to do to boost their signal is get a Wi-Fi repeater. But the problem with this is that Wi-Fi repeaters in themselves, they sometimes limit the connection of your speed. Whereas in this case, each of these nodes is a full tri-band router in its own right. Each node communicates via what is known as a dedicated data backbone, which means that you get full data rates at each node. Also, setting up a Wi-Fi with different nodes as opposed to separate routers entirely is a bit more convenient because it means you don't have to manually switch between the different Wi-Fi connections and you'll automatically be connected to the fastest one. So let's kick things off with a little bit of an unboxing. The outer packaging itself is pretty small but pretty dense. It's covered in branding, and it's got an entire side dedicated to the immense specifications of it. Opening the outer box contains a further box inside of it, in which we have the discs themselves. First impressions, they're quite a bit lighter than you might be expecting. Also, they're made of a fairly decent quality plastic, and they're pretty unobtrusive to look at. There's no flashy design going on here, and in some senses that's going to help them fit into any type of room. Underneath all that we have the warranty information and the instruction manual, and note here that by default you get a 2-year warranty as standard. And right at the bottom we have 1 Ethernet cable and 3 power adapters, which is everything we're going to need. So the test house I'm going to use to set up this Wi-Fi is a 6,000 square foot behemoth. It is a 4-floor setup and follows a pretty open plan, which is recommended to stop the Wi-Fi signal getting interrupted. When it comes to setup, as with other mesh Wi-Fi systems, everything revolves around the app. Once you've plugged in the first node into the power and your previous router through that Ethernet cable, it'll more or less automatically connect to Wi-Fi, and this will be done within 2 or 3 minutes. To set up the second node, you simply need to find a location that is not only far enough away so that it is somewhat broadening the signal, but at the same time close enough so that it can still communicate with the first node. And it's really not very long after you've plugged in the second node that you can sit next to it and perfectly use the internet there as well. It seamlessly connects to the first one, and the communication happens without you really realizing. The same goes for your third node. Try and find a location that with your previous single router, you were kind of struggling to reach a little bit, and then with this node in that location, all of a sudden you will have full 5 bars of signal. Now something I do think worth bearing in mind, and something the company is trying to focus on here, is that these hubs are not completely unobtrusive in a modern contemporary home. With their gentle multicolored pulsing LEDs and their soft matte white finish, they really won't look out of place even in the fanciest of rooms. Another thing the company is trying to push here is the application, and there are some useful features bundled in. The family protection section allows parents to restrict content seen on either one device or a group of devices. ASUS has built in its own security features as well, known as AI protection, and on top of that you can set bandwidth priorities. If for example you're a huge gamer and you don't want your downloads to interrupt that, you could set gaming as a priority and then not worry about it. So now I'm going to show you the before and after speed tests in what I would call the Wi-Fi problem areas. Starting off with one of the bathrooms, in our previous single router setup we were getting 9 down and 13 up. Moving over to the Lyra, this improved by about 30%. Whilst the upload speed stayed identical, the download did move from 9 to 13 megabytes per second. In a slightly more extreme case scenario, we were getting a cripplingly low speed in the garden previously, but all of a sudden with the Lyra on, this was actually coming out to more or less the same as what we had in the bathroom. Now this right here is a huge improvement, and to be honest kind of sums up the whole point of the product. There's a similar story when it comes to the entrance or the front porch here. It was not working at all previously, and now we're getting a good 15 megabytes per second down. So what is the conclusion here? Well, to be honest, if you're using your laptop and phone next to your router, there's really no problem, and to be honest you wouldn't face much benefit by moving to something like this. Having said this, if you have a large apartment or a multi-floor house in which you actually find problems actually trying to connect when you're in certain rooms, certain locations, or if you're standing just outdoors, then to be honest that's exactly what this product is made for. Most homes right now are probably filled with dead spots, whether it's your patio, your garden, your doorway, and this product really does eliminate them. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'm signing out.